So it begins again. Welcome to CreepGeeks Podcast. This is Season 8, Episode 308.
Bigfoot Festival, Fate Magazine, 5th graders save Bigfoot, T-Rex still stupid, UFO Welcome Center destroyed, and bugs in food meat.
That's right. All right, so anyway, welcome to the podcast. I'm Greg.
I'm Omi.
And we're going to talk about some stuff that we find to be interesting. Usually it's paranormal related, sometimes weird news, a little combination of both, UFO, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever. It's all the same thing, regardless of how you spell it. There was a festival this weekend that you went to.
Yes, the WNC Bigfoot Festival.
We're just going to call it Bigfoot Festival because we want more clicks.
Okay.
That brings more clicks.
All right.
Yeah, I threw it in there. Sure did. So anyway, here's the deal. Every once in a while, there's a Bigfoot festival that happens in Western North Carolina, primarily in Marion, North Carolina. And we've done it a couple times, and you've done it 2 times without me because you get to go inside and be in the AC where it's nice and cool, and the added protection of not having terrible thunderstorms and rain blow all of our stuff everywhere.
So the AC is not necessarily on, but I am inside, so.
It counts. If it has the capability of having AC, that's a plus.
It is relatively cooler, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That place doesn't have AC? It's got AC.
It does.
Right,
It's just so the art gallery, because there's so much foot traffic, they end up having to leave the front doors open because one thing about festival mentality is that people will show up from out of town, and I'm not just talking about this particular festival, but in general, people show up to a festival and they just don't know how to act. It's like they've never seen a door before. They've never seen a crosswalk before. That type of behavior. So
easy now.
Rather than, certain small businesses anywhere having their doors damaged, many of them will just leave their doors open. So.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So if you need to argue with Omi, you can certainly do that. You can also argue with us at, our CreepGeeks Facebook page is a good place to do that. Yep. And we do have a toll-free number that you can call if you'd like to argue with us on voicemail.
That phone number is going to be 575-208-4025.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, I do have a bone to pick with the Western North Carolina Bigfoot Festival.
Okay.
For the location that it is and the amount of people that show up, which is a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't think as many people know about it or hear about it until it's too late. And I do think they should probably change the time of year. And honestly, there's all the reasons in the world to leave it around the same time that it is. However, when you get a lot of rain, man, it basically takes everybody that's there, drowns them like a rat, and they all leave.
It rained this bad in 2022.
Yeah, no, we were there.
Yeah.
Now, the difference, though, between us and the other people that were there in 2022, outside on the street, right? Mm-hmm. What did we do? We had our 10 by 10 anchored down correctly the way it's supposed to be. We had weight in all 4 corners. We had the sidewalls up. We had it set up and ready. Everything was off the ground because I watched the weather. Mm-hmm. And what did the weather say? Torrential rain.
Thunderstorms, yeah.
So guess what happened to us? Nothing. We just pulled the tables back and had about 10 or 15 people, a couple people from Rhode Island, some other places and stuff, standing there being fine. There was a lot of people's tents that were taken off, like in the... what was that show with Dorothy and the Flying Witch and all that stuff? We call it Wizard of Oz. There you go. And, stuff. So it did the same thing this year. But
yeah,
I do think that there needs to be a more discerted effort to have a lot more public posts. And this is not just for WNC Bigfoot. This is for any event that's getting put out there. And if you're listening to the podcast and you've gone to an event or you're planning an event, if you're not making posts every day on Facebook or somewhere like that because it's free, it doesn't cost you anything, and extending your reach, people aren't going to show up. If they don't know, they don't go. And it becomes a time of effort and strife and struggle to get everything ready, especially if you're like a vendor, but then nobody shows up. And then you check the Facebook page and it's like the event happens that day and there's been no updates whatsoever from the event promoter.
So just to play devil's advocate on this, if you're a vendor or an artist or a speaker showing up to one of these types of events, shouldn't you also be posting?
You should, but is it your responsibility as a vendor to post and promote? Sure.
That's a good argument.
But who is it really? If you're the event promoter, you should be promoting every day, especially as you get closer to it. And you should be reaching out to people saying, hey, please promote this. Please share. But what they don't want, and this is what people do, is a vendor who's on Facebook or whatever will create a whole new Facebook page about the event like a moron, taking away any reach that the actual event page will have. That angers me to no end. It's like, hey, let's go check out, let's use Greg's Bigfoot Festival. And so you start posting and then you're like, hey, I'm going to attend, I'm going to be a vendor. And you're like, sweet, what do you do? Well, I sell t-shirts for $35, right? Mm-hmm. You're like, heck yeah. And then they create Greg's Bigfoot Festival page.
Or event
page. And now nobody knows, nobody can fix it, nobody can do it. And so it's like, be smart about it. You can post on your own page. Don't create another event page for the actual event.
That's like, okay.
And that's a pet peeve I have.
There was a very interesting woo-woo event that was happening north of us. And I've been trying to pay attention to it all last year. And I realized up until the last 2 weeks before that particular event, I was following the wrong page. Yeah. I was following the band that was going to play during the morning of that event.
And what happens, and see, if you're following the wrong page and you know what you're looking for.
And then they pulled out of the event.
Oh, even better.
So I had no information about actually going to this event.
You know, what's worse is like, say you create your own event page because you're a vendor and you don't know better or whatever, you think you're smart. And then you post it, right? And then you look and you're like a stranger going, hey, I wonder what's going on, right? So you check. And you see Greg's event page, Bigfoot, whatever, t-shirt festival.
Yeah.
And it says interested, 6.
Yeah.
People going, none. You're like, I'm not going.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, you're sitting there having spent all the time, effort, and everything to promote the page and get everything going so that people can actually show up and vend. And you get like 75 people interested instead of the 3,000 that was there last year. Yeah. But yeah, it needs to be promoted. If they don't know, they won't go. And by they, I mean people.
So...
That's my little rant. And I have that rant for every event. That's when you look at it going, wow, the last time this page was updated and the event is occurring today was 4 days ago. That's unsatisfactory because Facebook is free. It's free to make a post. It's not like you're paying the newspaper $1,000 you're trying to advertise like in a big magazine.
And if you already have a strong follower base, you can lean on that organic reach,
absolutely,
that organic engagement to keep people reinvigorated and reinterested in what you're doing.
Well, we're going to be on the morning news. Just watch the commercial. I'm not getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning to see some knuckleheads talk about a Bigfoot event. Like on TV, on what channel? It's the streaming world, man. We haven't had cable television since 2008.
I'm going to go back to that event I was talking about that happened like north of us, like north of where we live. And it was like one of those woo-woo things. So it was full of like anything from witches and paranormal to like...
Yeah, those are usually fun.
Cosplay and stuff like that. And because the band that cosplayed had so much more reach, they created their own Facebook event for it. But then at the last minute, they pulled out of the event.
And wrecked the whole thing.
So I had no idea anything about that event. And I was just like, it was one of those things that like you wouldn't have wanted to go. So like it would have probably been like
First off, how dare you? What do? I check and look.
Yeah.
72 people interested, 3 going. And you're like, let's go. I'm like, no. So I'm thinking gas up and there and back. Am I going to be able to get a cheeseburger out of this whole thing? Let's unpack everything.
But just because that event, and you think I would know better being in like social media and stuff like that, but no.
No, I get you.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's enough of that rant. But yeah, if you're an event promoter or vendor and you this affects you or you feel offended by this, you're part of the problem. Absolutely. You can write that down. If they don't know, they won't go. Yeah. You can be the nicest person in the world. If they don't know about it, they ain't showing up. One thing though that you did, that you were able to, Fate Magazine. We've seen those guys in 2022 that came by hanging out.
Yeah.
Chatted with them. Was pretty cool. And then you've seen them again last year, and then you've seen them this year.
Yeah.
They came by and were like, hey, and you were able to get the WNC Bigfoot listed with Fate Magazine on their page as an event and also on Singular 410 and some other places.
Yeah, even reached out to like a couple of places, Paranormality.
Yeah.
I sent the official press release to places like Coast to Coast, stuff like that. And I reached out to other travel and event type pages. Basically, did some legwork because I realized the potential of this particular event. Whatever you have to say, it is a very large event and it deserves proper marketing and attention. I made sure I reached out to places that would lift up this event the way they should, like Fate Magazine. They are I think they're one of the better magazines and publications in our community. So I definitely reached out to them, talked to them for a little bit, and they actually came to the festival, met their webmaster, hooked us up with some great like giveaway type swag.
Yeah, and that's coming.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do something with that.
And also gave me stacks of
Don't tell people what this.
No, I am. Stacks of one of their latest publications, their latest magazine, and said, give these out.
So we're going to have a little bit of a giveaway action.
I gave away so there's like 3 stacks on the table.
You should create a Facebook Fate magazine page so that
No.
so you can give them away.
I gave away over half of all of them. And then the rest of them, I was literally handing to people as I walked back to my car. So, and we still have a small, tiny pile, and then we're going to use that for a giveaway.
Okay. You're giving away our secrets. Because, anyway, they've been doing 75 years of covering the strange and unknown.
Yeah.
I like what they put on their webpage. It's changed. I read it a couple different times because I go and check Fate magazine all the time because I would see Fate magazines in like thrift stores and bookshops and stuff.
Yeah.
Because they're out of like basically Hendersonville, North Carolina, and Virginia Beach. We've got our own, or we had our own. I say had. When we lived in Virginia Beach, you had the area for research and enlightenment where Edgar Cayce and stuff. So we have a cluster of woo-woo stuff. Mm-hmm. It's pretty big in that area. And we, if you hit the thrift stores and stuff, you can find a lot of old books. And I would see a lot of old Fate magazines, and I'd buy them and check them out. And then what they put on their webpage is 6 decades before the AMC's Walking Dead, Sci-Fi's Paranormal Witness, late night radios, Coast to Coast AM, and countless websites, blogs, books, and movies began captivating audience with true tales of the paranormal. There was Fate, a first of its kind publication dedicated to in-depth coverage of mysterious and unexplained phenomena. 75 years.
Yeah.
You talk about it on like a Mysterious Universe is talking about. So Fate magazine's out there. I like it. I got a bunch of Fate magazines over here on the shelf, and we have a link. Everything we talk about in the podcast is available in our show notes. And you can click and find out if you want. And probably wouldn't hurt to subscribe. It's a nice little magazine. It's the kind of stuff that I may be speaking towards my age. Drugstores used to have little magazines and next to little tiny crossword puzzles and stuff, these little weird sort of obscure magazines. Right. Dime stores, drugstores and stuff. And you can get them and check them out. Airports used to have weird stuff like that too. But it's kind of fun. Back when you had like National Enquirer and then the other one with Bat Boy. What was that?
Weekly World News.
Yeah. It would be like, yeah, but Fate Magazine's pretty good. And we actually know someone who used to do some articles for him, Mr. Gorman. So he's done, what are you doing? Yeah. So we had the largest Bigfoot Festival in North Carolina. That happened May 18th. You went, got rained on, sort of.
Yeah.
Almost got rained out. Fate Magazine was there. Who else did you see?
I saw a couple of our listeners.
Yes.
Saw Scotty and who else did I see? Oh,
Seen Daniel.
Yeah, saw Daniel. And saw a couple of people that come every year and buy a couple of my little skulls from me. Saw some occasional listeners that they try to go to all these festivals too. So it's nice to meet up with them. They were like, I missed you last year. I was like, yep, I was inside the art gallery.
Yeah.
And then met some people that are affiliated with the North Carolina MUFON. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of MUFON, this is UFO related.
Yeah.
If you've ever been down towards South Carolina and seen this amazing UFO Welcome Center, which is basically one man's quest to invite He called it a duck blind for the UFO. Like maybe they'll fly over and see it and go, oh, we need to go down and check out, one of our own and see if we're okay. It's made out of plywood, painted silver, right adjacent from a trailer park. He called it the UFO Welcome Center.
Oh my.
It burnt. It caught on fire. And one of the quotes was, the creator was impressed at how quickly it burned. And we've got some videos. So if you want to click on it and check it out. The video was done through Vice, and it is just I don't know. It's just as bad as you think it would actually be.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. And I can't remember the guy's name. I was going to say. Bowman? Is it Bowman?
I think so. I'm trying to.
I thought you had like Pendragon or something. It was a weird name.
The Bowman UFO Center.
Yeah, that was because it's in Bowman, South Carolina.
Pendarvis. Yeah.
Yeah. Seemed like a nice guy, but it's gone. So if you've ever seen it, let us know. We never had a chance to make it that way. I think we actually sort of went past that area going to, I think we were heading to Georgia, go see the Georgia Guidestones, which are no longer around.
Yeah.
The first or second time we went through there. I know we've been through that area. We've done a couple events down that way, and I know we were headed to, we went to Georgia twice to go see the Guidestones.
I found a quote from one of the local South Carolina news websites, and this quite a character.
Yeah.
As far as, the newspaper saying, hey, what do you think happened? And he's like, I heard a popping outside my bedroom. I just thought it was a storm. But when I looked out back and saw the red stuff, I thought it was a fire engine at first, but I was wrong. In fact, it was kind of devastating. It really hasn't hit me yet. And then Pendarvis added, lucky for me, I threw my pants on, threw my shoes on, and a shirt. That's all I got right now, but I'm sure I'll survive. That's kind of sad.
Yeah.
When, the journalists tried to ask, hey, do you know what started the fire? And this guy says, don't know what started the fire. It may have been one of them alien ships that might have been by earlier this morning. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he says he sees them a bit, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone. Maybe another UFO came by and set the fire.
Yeah.
He expressed astonishment at the size of the blaze and how quickly it managed to completely destroy the attraction. A lot of tourists will miss it.
Yeah.
And it's called...
but the mayor says it actually took quite a while to put the fire out. So it didn't go up in an instant. So
it was holding on.
Yeah, she made it clear that, it took quite a while to put the fire out.
I mean, it's a wonderful little roadside attraction and oddity. And it's a hilarious landmark, or it was, for that little town. Not anymore.
Yeah.
So I wish we'd have seen it and took our own pictures, but... yeah, I guess it is what it is for that one, but yep. So let's move on to some good news. Speaking of Bigfoot and Sasquatch and all that sort of thing, this has happened a couple years in a row, but some Washington State fifth graders have secured Sasquatch protection for the third straight year.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So it's okay. So there's a little tinge they had to throw into this little article, but
why?
Okay, so this Washington State County basically passed a resolution to protect Sasquatch, right? And it's thanks to a fifth grade class project that's proven to be remarkably successful over the past 3 years. And we got this article off Coast to Coast, and it's written by Tim Banal. Mm-hmm. The annual endeavor from the Lincoln Elementary School in the city of Holcomb began back in 2022 by a way of teacher Andrea Andrews. And she basically conceived it as part of a civics lesson. And the project sees the youngsters tasked with researching Bigfoot, debating its existence, and if it passes a vote within a class, lobbying a local county government to pass a resolution that would protect the famed cryptid. So, although backing Bigfoot was wildly popular amongst the kids in 2023, this year's installment reportedly saw more of a debate surrounding the creature, with around 2/3 of the class voting in favor of the resolution, while the remaining youngsters offered a more skeptical take on the issue. So those on the side of pro Bigfoot pointed to recordings of curious sounds that some believe have been created by the cryptid, as well as insights from anthropologist Dr. Jeffrey Meldrum. Yeah. I can't say it anyway. Who he actually spoke to the class about his work, and then supporters of the resolution specifically cited the scarcity of sightings as an indication that its population was likely to be quite small, and therefore the creature needs to be protected.
That's a clever argument.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? You do the same thing for endangered species, right? Meanwhile, the students against the resolution largely argued that the endeavor was a waste of time because, in their opinion, Sasquatch simply does not exist, and the suspected sightings of the creature are most likely just bears, which are confused for Bigfoot. And the most nuanced position put forward by one of the students against the resolution is that by preventing the capture or killing of Sasquatch, its existence could never actually be proven. So with the pro-Bigfoot camp ultimately prevailing in the vote, the class subsequently presented their proposal to the Mason County Board of Commissioners, which approved the decree and declared the location to be a Sasquatch protection and refuge area.
Huh.
Yeah. This successful lobbying effort resulted in nearly all of the state's Olympic Peninsula also adopting the fifth graders resolution, as both Grays Harbor Council and Clallam County were swayed in 2022 and 2023. So the project is reaching, but see, nearly the entire class in 2022 was all about it.
Yeah.
And then, as this stuff is starting to die down and the popularity is waning because of all the shows and everything else, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Now you got 2/3 saying yes, and then 1/3's like, I don't care because you can't prove it. I don't think it's real. So, and that's the kind of sad thing.
That's also a very educated position for a young kid to take.
That's a pretty adult. The world is beating me down. Sort of skepticism, I think.
By preventing the capture or killing of Sasquatch, its existence can never actually be proven. That's a pretty grown up. That's somebody's parent going,
these kids are not trusting.
Yeah.
They're like, enough crap has been going on in this past year. I don't believe anything that I see and or hear. You need to show it to me. It sounds a little bit Generation X to me.
However, the intention of this by this teacher, Andrea Andrews, this does make for a very good civics lesson. I mean, I have Well,
it's a safe civics lesson.
Yeah, because you're not actually going after some things. Like, I remember reading this one example of, these kids trying to save a local park, only to have county commissioners just go, ah,
Yeah, they're like, oh, we're not going to save it. We've already got money out of it.
Yeah, pretty much,
Well, I mean, this is a safe civics argument because you're not picking a group of people. You're not picking a hot button topic that somebody's parents can get offended by. You're not doing any of that. It's safe because at the end of the day, nobody can prove Bigfoot.
But you can also teach them the civic process, that you do the research, you debate, you count the majority creates an initiative, it follows through, that's great. I like that. But then, the fact that there is 1/3 of students saying this whole thing is a waste of time.
Those are the kids that are wearing helmets. They're like, we're going through life. We're strapping the helmet on. We're going to take the licks. We're going to do it. They're like, I don't believe you. I don't believe any of the stuff that you're saying right now. You need to prove it to me before I'll
somebody go to those little young students go, your vote doesn't count? I mean, that's what I feel like.
I think the skepticism these guys exhibit is probably more like, I'm seeing enough crap going on to know that what you're telling me is just not true. Hey guys, everything is great. And I'm seeing that it's not great. Why are you saying that it's great? Now I don't trust you.
I feel horrible for those kids.
I do too, but not really. Because, I mean, what if they're the ones that are not going with the crowd? They're like, there's a reason that they want evidentiary proof. They want something tangible before they commit to a decision. Mm-hmm. So, kudos. So here's the deal. It's entirely possible that we've been wrong about T-Rex again.
We have been wrong about T-Rex multiple times.
Well,
at this point, that meme that goes around saying, actually, he wore Crocs with socks,
That's why I put this in here.
That's no longer surprising.
In this podcast, we've talked a couple different times about T-Rex, and it's flip-flop, gone back and forth, right?
Yeah.
About basically a couple different things. My favorite was, the arms aren't really arms, they're just wings.
Yeah, I kind of
whatever.
Like that
and then,
one.
I do too, because it means that T-Rex could be dragons, right? Hopefully. But there's a new study that basically says we're probably wrong about T-Rex again.
Great.
And this is from Science Alert. So there you go. Dim-witted dope or brainy is the debate. Because remember, he went from being dumb to, wait a minute, T-Rex is really smart.
Dim-witted dope or brainy brawn.
Right. And now they're still flip-flopping back again.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I don't think we actually really know, right? So in 2023, there was a controversial study that basically suggested the most infamous of dinosaurs, the T-Rex, could be as brainy as modern monkeys, right? Which basically provoked much skepticism among other researchers who have now brought their receipts to the table. The possibility that T-Rex might have been as intelligent as a baboon is fascinating and terrifying.
Okay.
With the potential to reinvent the view of the past, right?
Yeah.
And that came from University of Southampton, a paleontologist there in Nice. But now the study shows how all of the data they have is against that idea. So there's a zoologist, Kai Kasper, from the Heinrich Heine University in Germany, who basically says the study found that the brain size measurements in 2023 study were inaccurate. That's what they do. They're measuring the size of the brain, right, to see how smart this thing was. And so those inflated estimates on the number of neurons that the prehistoric reptiles could fit into their noggin in the forebrain were overestimated.
Okay.
And so they were primarily due to the original paper assuming that T-Rex brain had the most endocranial space, which isn't true in most dinosaurs. They said that since its brain filled up more of its head, it had to be smarter.
Yeah. I'm sorry. My computer doesn't like this website.
Well, my computer doesn't like anything.
Yeah.
I'm just talking to you, Windows 11.
Yeah. But I think part of this, though, these arguments are just too amalgamous. I think they're a little hard to digest for, like, the average people. And I don't know. Because they're, like, trying to compare, like, mammals versus reptiles, but technically mammals versus ancient reptiles. And my definition when it comes to animals and how smart they are includes more or other things, you know, like I could think a snake is very clever by the way it hunts, you know, whereas I've never been very fond of primates despite them having great intelligence, you know. This creature, the T-Rex, was an apex predator. It had to have some form of intelligence to be the alpha predator in the Jurassic World. So, I don't know.
Well, I like the article because it basically says that, you know, it lists examples, right, of animals that have big brains for their skull size and small brains for their skull size. And then it talks about learned birds like crows can outperform from primates on certain things. And even though they have a little tiny bird brain, you know, they shouldn't be able to necessarily do stuff like that. So when you're talking about things like connectivity patterns and, you know, some of the stuff that they're testing can play a larger role in determining intelligence. So here's the problem we have. We're using our own methods of testing to basically prove how intelligent something is. And just like you said, there's those other ways to prove intelligence.
Yeah.
So... but yeah, anyway, we go back and forth. So T-Rex was smart because it had a big head, big brain.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, no, that's not the case. And now we're back to going, well, it might actually be dumb. So we don't know. Again, we don't even know exactly what these things really, truly look like. We think we do because of skeletons, stuff like that.
Yeah.
We don't really know. Like the whole idea of feathers. Oh, no, that's crazy talk.
I still think that's going to be the thing. Like if we find more and more recent dinosaur remains or, you know, fossils, eventually we're going to find something with a lot more feathers on it. Like,
we're not going to find those because that's what turns into oil.
Allegedly, Tyrannosaur, which is it's a Tyrannosaurus Rex that was primarily in the Asian continent. It had a lot of feathers, you know, on some renditions of it.
Yeah.
So it was like that super tall giant turkey,
Yeah.
So
Big chicken.
yeah, I think I like
Little barnyard raptors.
Yeah.
I mean, look at a roadrunner.
Right.
Those things are crazy. If you ever seen one in real life, they
Yeah.
to me, they could totally be one of those little raptors running around like you see in some of the, what was those famous dinosaur
Jurassic
movies that
Park?
got increasingly worse as the renditions have gone along. Yeah.
Yeah, Jurassic Park.
So we don't know. Just so if you were thinking that you had a substantial improved understanding of the relationship between neuron counts and other biological variables in your determination of how smart T-Rex is, hold on.
Yeah.
It might not be the case. So we'll see. So speaking of T-Rex and being smart or not smart, because we don't really know, did you know that sperm whales have a secret weapon?
Yes, I did know about this.
Yes.
But
And also, did you know that this is my secret weapon in case of a crazy cryptid attack?
I did not know that.
Well, I will tell you about it. And a surprise, this comes from the same science website we just talked about. Mm-hmm. And basically, sperm whales have been using their ultimate weapon against attacking orcas.
Yeah.
So orcas are pretty mighty, right? They hunt like wolves in a pod of those a pod of these black and white dolphins. I didn't realize that they were actually dolphins. But
yeah.
Whatever. That makes them even worse now because everybody thinks of dolphins as being, happy like Flipper, although they're slightly raunchy.
Oh, no,
but,
they're horrible.
Yeah, they are. Well, yeah, that's true. But anyway, these guys hunt, right? And they take out great white sharks and blue whales and porpoises and even sperm whales, which is, they're the largest predators on Earth, and they're thought to be largely helpless. And I'm talking about the sperm whales when they face an orca attack.
Yeah.
But they're not. They come together like nose to nose, and they'll protect the calves in the center there. So they're basically tails out like a star in the ocean, right? And what happens when an orca attacks?
You say it.
So what happens is, and as a final desperate measure to make sure that the sperm whale pod protects and is protected against this mighty orca attack, their secret weapon, you know what it is? They release their entire bowels.
Yes. A big...
in use against an orca onslaught.
Yes. A big reddish pink bomb of explosive diarrhea is apparently emitted from these.
It's a poop slushy. And they shoot it in the face of their attackers.
And it's like
kryptonite.
It's like it's not a trickle. It is a Taco
think
Bell
about a
incident.
school bus.
It is
A school bus size animal.
Yeah.
Just letting it all go.
Now this is one of the most extreme responses to an orca attack, but when you see this happen, that means they're like, get away from us.
Yeah. It's a cloud of liquid feces.
And it is.
And think about it. You're in the water.
Yeah.
So, you don't want to be breathing that.
Yeah.
Or drinking it or whatever. So I too would flee. Now, if I was being attacked by some kind of cryptid monster, mm-hmm. and it was the ultimate, the end, I too would release a cloud of feces.
A cloud.
Yes.
Okay.
And hopefully that cloud would help propel me away. So I would shamble away.
Yeah.
So yeah, the orcas put on an intense pursuit. It basically showcased their power and elite hunting techniques. And this was actually filmed. So they were watching it happen. And that's why they know about this.
Yeah. So
their defensive defecation.
Yeah.
We need to write that down. That should be a shirt.
Now,
defensive defecation tactics.
Now the matriarch of the orca pod, the killer, the orcas.
Punado.
Was named Cookie, and she was leading the chase. She was very persistent in trying to get to these young sperm whales. The sperm
like 3
whales.
hours.
Yeah. The whales regrouped to try to keep an eye on the orcas. Cookie suddenly came flying through the water like a rocket at all of them. As usual, when faced with an orca attack, sperm whales huddled together in a rosette circle, with their tails pointed outwards and the youngest and most vulnerable members tucked into the middle. And at that point is when
they released the defensive defecation.
Yes.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. And it's the picture. It's orangish, kind of looks terrible.
Yeah, it does.
So I don't know.
It's like a pinkish red.
It's a punado.
Yeah.
What they're calling it, defensive defecation. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a second. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, anyway, we're back, and I was going to play a little song that I found I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't remember where it is. So I thought it was, you know what it is? I have like 6 pages on the screen here. I've got like 6 pages of things I can play. Mm-hmm. And I thought I had saved it. So we're gonna play a little bit of this. See, just listen to the words, all right? It's pretty good. And we actually have license to play it, so don't get all worked up copyright.
No, I don't care if a man walked on the moon, if it's hoax or if it's truth. No, I don't care if Apollo really flew or just staged a photo shoot. No.
In 1969, the United States of America launched Apollo 11. This was the first manned space shuttle to land on the surface of the moon.
No, I don't care. No, I don't wanna fight. Not with you tonight. I don't care about anything like you. I don't care. I don't care. No, I don't care. I don't care. Just as long as I'm with you. I don't care. I don't care. No, I don't care. No, I don't care if aliens exist and the government's hiding it. No, I don't care if they're floating through the sky, objects unidentified. No.
In 1947, the UFO crashed near Roswell, New Mexico. Many theories suggest that extraterrestrial occupants were removed from the wreckage.
No, I don't care. No, I don't wanna fight. Not with you tonight. I don't care about anything like you. I don't care. I don't care. No, I don't care. I don't care. Just as long as I'm with you. I don't care.
All right, anyway, there you go. Just want to play a little bit of that. Not going to play the whole thing, just in case my license for that song is not active or real. Yeah, it's a game. But speaking of game, there was a picture taken recently I thought was pretty cool, and I kind of wanted to at least talk about it, so maybe if you want to check the show notes, you could see it. All right, remember a long time ago, they had video footage underwater of an octopus getting mad at a fish?
Yeah.
Because the fish was supposed to do something right, and then it
chuck
didn't work out.
Yeah.
And so the fish came cruising back by like, hey, man. And he just got mad, started punching at it. He
Yeah.
just kept punching it every time he'd seen it.
Through a shell.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the octopus was angry
Yeah.
because evidently the fish didn't do what he was supposed to do, right? So there's a picture, and so I titled this little section, Move Over, Fish Punching Octopus. Here's Eagle Spitting Seal. And it's basically some pictures that it's allegedly the first of their kind. They show a seal basically spitting at a swooping eagle.
This is great. And it's so cool that the photographer was able to capture
Yeah,
this.
and so I know he spat, whatever,
Yeah.
but it's just funny because the picture is a brown eagle, and those things have like wingspans like 8 feet or something crazy like that.
They're big.
Swooping down like it's going to go get some fish, and there's the seal sticking his head up out of the water and spitting at that eagle. Like a lot of water, not just like you know, like get away, get on it. And so the idea is that since that brown eagle is basically fishing the same fertile ground that seal is in, trying to eat, the seal wasn't having it.
Yeah.
The seal's like, come on, man, you're trying to scare away the fish, so he's spitting at it as it's flying by. And the picture is perfect. It's like you couldn't get a better picture. It's probably by accident. I think that whoever took the picture wasn't like a photographer or whatever. It just happened to be a mother and daughter who was out there.
Yeah.
And they caught the white-tailed eagle that was swooping towards the water at high tide. As it approached the water, an adult gray seal appeared from the depths, barking at the seal and spitting a stream of water at it.
Yeah.
I would love to see if nature was like that and seeing stuff like that all the time. It'd be super awesome.
Having said that, if nature's like that all the time, spitting actually is not that common in vertebrates. It's most commonly seen in humans, camels, llamas, and alpacas. We all know all those spit, as well as some species of snake and only a couple of species of fish. However, here it seems it's the best form of defense for the gray seal.
Yes.
Yeah. Because, like, you have to figure both these animals, this is a very common environment for them. They're fighting for resources. This must be good fishing lands, according to this gray seal, and he's tired of the eagles.
So we got whales with defensive defecation and seals spit attack.
And you know, the eagles are probably tuned out of these, because gray seals bark. They're like, rah, you know.
Yeah.
So the eagles are probably over it. They're just like, okay, they're just going to bark. I'm going to keep fishing. Well, now you're not, because the seal just spat in your face.
That seal's not happy. So the encounter is an incredible moment to capture on camera and a reminder that all of the interactions in the animal kingdom that we don't yet know about. No one's, they didn't really know this was a thing until his mother and daughter caught the picture.
Yeah.
I'm always thrilled to catch photos of the eagle, says Claire Jacobs, but catching such a rare and never before seen interaction made my year.
Yeah.
And it's been published in the Isle of Wight Natural History and Archaeological Society Journal.
It's pretty cool.
Where was this at? It's at Isle of Wight.
Yeah. Oh, the UK. Wait.
The other Isle of Wight.
Yeah.
Because we have Isle of Wight in Virginia. So, but yeah, spitting seal.
Yeah.
There's a couple different pictures of this thing spitting at it.
There's one.
That seal's like, I spit at thee. And
there's one in the middle of the article where he's clearly barking like, I'll do it again.
Yeah. Bring it.
Yeah.
So he's like, get out of here. Get out of here, you buzzard. All right. So, I thought it was kind of cool. And we're going to go ahead and take a second so we can wrap up the podcast and talk about this bugs and meat fear that I had. So, as you know, TikTok is a place where you can find all sorts of information that may or may not be true.
Yeah.
It sort of depends, right? So you always have to trust the source, and as far as you could basically throw the source, right? It's like, let me look into this. So this TikTok I watched was talking about how Tyson Foods and some other companies were starting to add insect-based protein into their food products because it was inexpensive. And, hey, the cost of things are high, so we need to make sure we get the protein right. So rather than have high-protein meat, they could just augment it with some insect protein.
Yeah.
And that way it keeps up the nutritional value. And my first thought was, I don't want to eat bugs, right? It's not the end of the world. So, I mean, if it's in the world, I'm eating bugs, but it's not. And then, and some of the comments and stuff that were in this TikTok were like, well, a lot of the world eats bugs. Yeah, because they don't have access to a cow. In the U.S., we can go eat. You can go to the store and you can buy meat. There's a lot of places where you can't do that.
Yeah.
And so people eat crickets and stuff like that because it augments or whatever, and they've been eating them for so long that they're used to it. I don't want to eat bugs. I don't give a shit.
It's not that they don't have access to a cow. It's that cows are cost prohibitive.
Access is all inclusive, whether you can pay for it, get to it, whatever. But I mean, they're using bugs as a way I get it, for nutritional, but that's not my issue.
But food prices here in the United States are rising, and they're rising at such a rate that's a genuine fear of mine. Are we going to be priced out of traditional meat?
I mean, that's a possibility, but at the same time, I don't want that choice to be taken away from me by a company adding bugs to their product.
True.
Like, they're not doing me a favor, because there is no favor that is being shown towards me from a company other than the company putting more money back in their pockets.
Yeah.
I get this stuff's expensive, but they are doing the job of taking items out of packaging and increasing the prices. And so they're just straight up greedy.
Which is
screwing the customers.
Goes to your argument of this being a very twisted possible case of shrinkflation.
Exactly. I mean, we seen it firsthand when we bought egg rolls for $5. They weren't the best egg rolls because, nothing you get in a box as Chinese food is any good.
Spring rolls.
Spring rolls, I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, they are better than egg rolls.
I could have got 12 egg rolls for that same price.
Right. But this was basically spring rolls. They were $4.68 in a box. And guess how many they had? 5. Yeah. I mean, I would almost rather have 4. You know what I mean? So I actually made a little TikTok. It's like, why not 6?
Yeah.
Why not 6?
But if you had 4, they better be good tasting. I mean, that's my problem. So,
if you got a family of...
And we bought...
What if you got a family of 4?
I know.
Everybody gets 1 egg roll?
Yeah.
1 spring roll? Come on, man. A lot of times that's the best part of it.
But that's 1 serving according to the back of that box.
Look, man.
Yeah, that is 1 serving.
What if you got 3 people and you're like, I mean, when you go buy spring rolls from any Chinese food place, you get 2 at least.
Yeah.
You get 1 spring roll? No. So I mean, to me that's some of the best part of the entire thing is a crunchy spring roll or egg roll, right? So you get 3 people, everybody's getting 2 except for you.
The biggest insult though is because I have to pick up the Chinese when we order it, and they take 1 look at me and they take 1 look at our order and they assume we're feeding a family of 5, so they give us 5 egg rolls.
And they know that you get hungry like 20 minutes later. They know that.
They think we're eating for 5 people.
What they don't realize is that, you can put those egg rolls right in the refrigerator and then later on they become a delicious snack. But yeah, to only have 5 in a box was just angering. It made me angry, and I made a short.
Yeah.
And stuck it up on YouTube. It's like, why not 6?
Yeah.
And I was surprised at the comments. A lot of people were like, why not 4? Why not 14 minutes? Because that's how long it said to cook it on a box, like trying to play devil's advocate. And there were other people like, yeah. Why not 6? I want 6 egg rolls. So it was like, it got pretty heated.
Well, see,
I actually had to ban somebody because they went off a little bit, and it was called somebody a communist.
Yeah.
So they just went, I'm like, I don't have time for that. So.
Well, see, and that's the thing. Those were only $4.68, and our normal brand of spring rolls weren't even available. They were all sold out. So because we don't normally get the vegetarian spring rolls. We normally get the ones that have chicken flavored in it. Yeah. So.
You don't think so?
No, I know we don't.
Let me tell you, if we go back through our Walmart delivery order history, it's going to say chicken.
Innovation brand mini vegetable spring rolls.
That's what you get.
That's what I
get
buy.
The chicken.
And it's 7 ounces. They don't.
Maybe I'm thinking of egg rolls.
You are thinking egg rolls. So.
Chicken.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, so here was the deal. The TikTok basically listed off some food manufacturing companies, the biggest one namely being Tyson, and saying that Tyson was in adding insects, like food, protein grade insects, bugs, right? And they even had a little thing that said, check this on the list of ingredients to see if you're eating bugs. And it listed off the scientific names of these bugs. And I got a little worked up.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, look, man, I don't have a problem banning you. I don't want to eat bugs. It should be my choice. Mm-hmm. Now, look, I mean, you're invariably going to eat some insects anyway that fall into the mix or whatever, like accidental bugs. And that's one thing. But I don't want to be like, oh, how much of this is actually meat versus how much of this. And I have issues with like how these things are cleaned. What kind of, how is eating bugs? What's the process involved with making these things safe to eat? I mean, like look at crustaceans like mud bugs and stuff like that, the little crawdads.
Yeah.
They go through a process to be cleaned, hopefully. Yeah. And so that they get rid of all the mud and stuff and all the crap they've been eating before you eat them. But who's to say it happens with crickets and bugs and everything else? I mean, are they boiled? Are they just like cooked up and hope for the best? How would that happen, right? I want to know the process involved.
It's gross.
Okay, but I mean, if you have a huge factory like Tyson, like a food manufacturing facility, I want to know how they're doing that before I ever have to even worry about eating it. I don't trust them.
I've watched one video and it was just gross, but
it's awful. I mean, who knows what these things are eating? I don't like it. I don't like that idea whatsoever. So I got on the internet and took a look. And so according to Reuters, fact check, Tyson Foods does not put insects into products for human consumption.
Yeah.
So Tyson Foods does not list insects or bugs as FDA-approved ingredients in its products, as suggested in posts referencing a partnership with insect ingredient supplier Protix for material to be used in animal feed. Tyson Foods is not adding insect protein of any kind to food intended for human consumption, a company spokesperson told Reuters in an email.
Yeah.
So a misleading Facebook post says, FDA-approved bugs, read your labels.
Yeah.
Prompting responses such as one word, gross. And are they listed as such? And there's a little, basically, a thing that shows, it says, the bugs have arrived. Read your labels. They're talking like crickets, mealworms, and grasshoppers. And under Tyson, they list Hillshire Farm, Sara Lee, Jimmy Dean, Ballpark, Gallo, Pierre, State Fair, and Original Philly Steakies. All the processed crap in a box that we all like to eat. They're just going to add some protein in there. And the post actually has a picture of mealworms, and it lists all the Tyson brands, right? Mm-hmm. And so the companies have entered a joint effort to construct and operate an insect ingredient facility, creating high-quality insect proteins and lipids, which will primarily be used in the pet food, aquaculture, and livestock industries. So they're going to grind them up and feed them to the animals, get them some protein. Yep. And so the release basically makes no mention of using Protix ingredients in the food meant for human consumption. So now the Food and Drug Administration lists the accepted levels of natural or unavoidable defects in foods that present no health hazards for humans on its website. This includes insects. However, these are not considered approved ingredients, though. So around 2,000 species of insects are eaten as food in more than 100 countries. And that's according to the University of Minnesota's College of Food, Agriculture, and Natural Resources. So the verdict of the article is misleading. Tyson brand foods for human consumption do not include insects as ingredients.
I'm sorry.
But your dog gets to eat them. Cows get to eat them. Everything else eats them.
Don't say that. The chickens.
They all eat. Well, they eat it anyway. I mean, chickens eat bugs and stuff like that anyway.
Yeah.
That's why you let them go around in the yard and scratching and stuff. But here's the deal. You know, somewhere, somebody in these companies is like, we need to look at this. Because if it's a normal thing in some other foreign countries, you know, it's eventually going to work its way here. And they're going to say, it's organic, man. It's healthy. It's whatever. And I don't want to eat crickets. I mean, there's places that already serve cricket. Yeah. You can go to a store and get them. I don't want that. It's not the end of the world, man. I don't want to eat people, but I don't want to eat crickets either, or mealworms.
There's like entire sections of websites like Epicurious that show you how to clean and prepare crickets at home.
Don't care.
There's several YouTube videos on it. It's just, I mean, it scares me because I'm one of those, what if we do run out of food, or what if food becomes so expensive?
I got 100 pounds to worry about before it gets to that point. I can lose 100 pounds. You know what I mean? Get down to about 200 before I start eating crickets. I'll eat a squirrel.
But I'm
going to eat a meat before I eat a cricket.
Here's the thing. I'm looking at the fact check, and my biggest problem is the example that they used looks so fake. I would not fall for that. Now, if it looked a little more legit, I'd be like, oh, now I need to be worried.
Well, you're looking at it as like this thing came from somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it as like somebody figured this out and threw something together to warn you. You know, this looks like something I would put together and put out there. Hey, guys, you're eating bugs. This didn't come from Tyson. I mean, come on.
Like only the finest quality of Microsoft Paint put
Absolutely.
this together.
Absolutely. Like, I'm enjoying the fact that a lot of people on YouTube are like trying to go back to just being organic and just making videos that aren't nearly as edited. You know, because not everybody is a production studio.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm just going to hit the button and start talking.
Not everybody has 3 people following them around.
Exactly.
Sure,
and people are getting tired of it because YouTube has forgotten the U in YouTube.
Yeah.
Their entire platform was driven off of submitted content from users.
Somebody made that argument recently. They said, well, the you we're talking about is the user who watches.
That's a negative ghostwriter because people, the whole thing, and I remember this because I've been on YouTube for over 12 years.
Yeah.
The thing is that it's submitted content. I make content and you allow me to put it up there and hopefully I can profit from it because of my efforts or whatever. It's called monetization, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they seem to have forgotten it. So I just recently did last night, as a matter of fact. I got roped into doing that survey. Remember, I'm like, you said, what are you doing? And I'm like, I clicked on that stupid survey. 20 minutes later, I'm still doing this survey. And at the end of it, it's like, we would like to contact you.
Sure.
Because I let them have it. I'm like, you forget where you come from, man. I understand they need to make money. See, they changed. YouTube has changed. You know, the newer CEO is all about making profit.
Okay.
And cares less about people that are submitting. And it's a thing. And you could see it. Because people are like, and it's just, anyway, that's enough of that. So I think we're going to take a second and finish. I think we're about done.
All right.
With the old podcast for this particular venture. Let me click another wrong button again. Here we go.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and thank you to every single person that said hi to me at the Bigfoot Festival this past weekend, to the different folks and vendors that I met. I hope you stayed safe, and I hope everything's okay for you. If you have any questions or comments, join our Facebook group. It is a fairly interactive group. We love sharing and hearing from our listeners in the Facebook group, or just comment on our page, or contact at CreepGeeks.com.
Yeah. Sorry, well, anyway, I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please let us know. But otherwise, see you later. Take it easy. Bye, Sickle.
Bye.